Well, in a world of broken dreams, makes it a hard place to live, you know? But you keep on going. Useless. Thousands of dollars spent on exercise equipment, appliances. Broken dreams thrown away right in the shit pile, only to be turned into more useless machines and transport modules. Worthless crap. Well, one thing that's not worthless is this trailer. Came in pretty handy. I ended up doing something with it, just using a bunch of planks of wood I had. Bought a couple pieces, slapped it together, made it extra tall so I could stand up fridges. Works out pretty good. Fill it up, dump it off. Story of my life. Taking trash away, doing favors for people. Price of scrap's low, but I keep on going. Oh, speaking of broken dreams, there's one right here. It's 1982 Mercury Capri RS. Seen in the previous video how it was running pretty good. Well, I picked it up in a trade I did recently, and a friend of mine was in need of a pickup truck, so I found one. Did a deal. Got this, few other items. So it was said that the car had this mysterious skip, and that the engine was pretty much on its way out. A couple different stories about low compression and misfires and shattered dreams. So I picked it up. I drove it home. The car was definitely drivable. But it did have this weird stumble that would go away and come back and go away and come back. But it didn't really sound like a skip to me. Seeing as that it would almost get better when it got warm, which that tells pretty much anyone that that's a fuel problem, not an ignition problem. So I said, I got an extra set of plates. Why don't I, drive this thing around and see if I can't figure it out and see why it was doing that. Didn't seem like too bad of a car altogether. It wasn't smoking. It wasn't popping, backfiring. It just it would start right up in the morning, but had this weird stumble. It was hard to get going. You had to really feather the clutch to get it going. And but once you got on the main road and really started cooking, the thing screwed. It really cleared out and ran good. So I started looking into it a little bit. I started looking at some vacuum lines and whatnot. I mean, it's pretty simple under here. So it's got a newer model 302 in it. Wasn't able to find the numbers or see the numbers on the motor to see what year it was. It's got a, it was said to be an almost new 5-speed in it. Looks pretty clean under there when I had it up. It's got some chrome BBK headers on it. It's got a Holley 500 CFM 2-barrel. 2-barrel intake. I guess they were trying out some different stuff. Didn't want to go with the 4-barrel for whatever reason. Electric fuel pump. So I started looking at a few things like that and checking, you know, make sure it was getting enough fuel from that, and checking vacuum lines. And I started to question the carburetor itself. I mean, it looked good. It looked new. Still had the sticker on it, Holley Performance and all that. And when I started talking to some different people about it, and just kind of shooting the shit, you know, in general, different guys, you know, talking about cars and whatnot, and telling them what it did. And none of them really agreed with me about the carburetor thing. I actually took it to a couple different people, took them for a ride in it, and nobody could really give me an answer or a good opinion of what it was, or what to try next. So I said, you know what, this time I'm going to go with my gut feeling, and I need to eliminate this carburetor thing out of my head. So what that's going to mean is, an easy thing to do would be to just see if I can borrow or get another 2-barrel and just bolt it on and see what happens. If it's at all different, then I know that it's the carburetor. That's the issue. With the car, I did get the original 1982 marked aluminum 4-barrel intake that's supposed to be on this car. But I mean, who wants to go through all that? I don't really want to start, you know, switching intakes and stuff like that. I just want to get it running good, have a little fun, and then trade it, deal it off, sell it, whatever, you know. So I started thinking about it, and I thought of someone that I contacted, and they did. They had a few 2-barrel carbs, and I went over there and got one. So it turned out a friend of mine is into, I started thinking about it, and I said, you know, he's into circle track racing and stuff like that. So I said usually for a lot of those classes they run 2-barrels. So sure enough, he had some. He said, oh yeah, I got a few. So I went over. I also took him for a ride in the car, and he sat there and adjusted, you know, the carb that was on it, and we fiddled with a few things, but he couldn't really give me an answer either. And he kind of stumbled on it, you know, just like everyone else. So he said, if, you know, he said, I mean, I think you're kind of, you know, pulling your prick. I mean, you know, switching the carbs out, but by all means, you know, you can borrow it. And so that's what I did. Slapped it in the back seat and took off. So, sure enough, when I swapped it out, I mean, this carburetor that he let me use, as I said, was for racing, so it's got a lot of the vacuum ports plugged off and whatnot, so I couldn't run, you know, I couldn't hook up my vacuum advance for the distributor, and I had to change around where a couple of things went to make it work, but it doesn't matter to me. I just wanted to put it on and see if it got rid of the stumble and the weirdness of this mysterious junk motor skipped no compression, pull it out, throw it away kind of thing. So 4 bolts and a couple lines and throttle cable. It came off, the other one went on. Well, of course it's a Holly, so at first it just flooded with fuel. But we started messing with that a little bit and tapped it around, and once it got unstuck and the floats were good and everything, this thing fired up and it ran smooth, just like you've seen in that video, in the recent one of it running. You can even hear the mild cam that it has now. So through further inspection of taking apart the other one, it was all gummed up. It was all crap in it. So my hunch was right, and since then I never had so much fun in my life driving this car. It's got, like I said, it's got a 5-speed. It's got a newer aftermarket racing clutch in it, short throw shifter. Makes it real fun. Posy. It's got new exhaust on it. It's got 2 welded thrust turbos, and sounds pretty good going down the road. I mean, it's rattly and stuff like that, and for the Fox bodies, the towers are clean. No rot on the towers. The front rails have been patched up. Some thick metal has been welded in where the sway bar bolts up. It's a common issue with these older Fox bodies. But all in all, it's very reliable. The only complaint really I have about it is the heat kind of sucks, and I'm not even sure there's a thermostat in it. Probably not. It was probably just a warm weather car, but it takes a long time to get heat out of it. But I mean, it doesn't really matter because you're having so much fun. And it's got its rips in the seats, and the interior is not the greatest, but it does drift, if you didn't see. Probably the worst part about the car is up here on the roof. Another common issue. It's got some bubbling coming through, a little bit of rust popping through. Someone had previously, fixed it and then repainted the car. Did a very nice job painting it. But it does have its, it's bubbling coming through. But I've driven it in rainstorms, and I'm telling you, it probably got 2 drops of water on the seat. That's it. That's all I seen. Oh, I almost forgot. There is this other weird problem. It's just, I can't figure it out what it is, but maybe somebody could tell me what's going on. But it does this weird, funny thing when you rev it really fast and just let go of the clutch. It leaves 2 black lines in the road. Yeah, 2 black lines. I mean, the town and the city people, they're getting mad. I can't help it, I'm just trying to take a ride. And I'm just leaving black lines, 2 of them, right side by side, all in the streets. I don't know. If someone knows why it's doing that, I'd really like to fix it. until next time, I think you know.